If there was anything in this world that can be called a titanic war, is what we have now. For somebody who was not there, somebody who is observing things from the sidelines, we can only make certain conclusions. In many occasions, in almost all occasions, my prediction or observation has been right. But I can say that it is purely by coincidence, and it is also purely by somebody who have worked there, somebody with experience, somebody with observation. You can make such conclusions. On one side, people blame me by saying that I have access to government operations and information. That's why I say what I want to say, what I'm saying, and it happened. And on the other side, people castigate me for saying things. Anyway, let us not go there because I have no access to the government. And if at all anybody in the government, including the president, if for any reason they do come across my information, maybe because I do not know who who gets into my YouTube channel, and I would also say that a person like the president has many advisors, and I do not have the monopoly of ideas. On the other side, I believe that the best time to treat a disease is preventing it. The current issue that we are having, it was a very easy thing to have been solved, but if when they say prevention is better than a cure, you find that I've always said I don't remember any of my colleagues having come out public, but so far, or if there is and I don't know, uh, I am the only person who is associated with the word Operation Shika Msumari. I've already recorded that, but I'll repeat that quickly. I would say that Operation Shika Msumari is usually an operation where you do something bad, but then either nobody is discovered, but should anybody be discovered, then you who did it will not be blamed. What a good example of Operation Shika Msumari, which is there now. The NIS, and I think uh, for over a month, I've been the only person who has been saying, okay, some people may also be having that idea, but people have not been coming out to also say what I've been saying. It is only me who has been coming public, where I say that the people who are being abducted are being abducted by NIS. The good thing about social media is that you can always trace who was the first person to say so. So here is the situation where the NIS is doing something bad, and then the people to be blamed is the National Police Service or even the Directorate of Criminal Intelligence. How life can be unfair. They took a heavy-handed approach, while there were so many easier ways. From where I'm standing, I can tell you that if I were in the command center and such issues were brought to my attention, there are so many ways I would have recommended. NIS, by the way, basically they are supposed to recommend. I would have recommended, there are so many ways I would have recommended, which none of which would be abduction. You find that the IGP, the DCI, have been having the director of criminal investigation. They have been having a hard time. Yet, and again, they could not say that it is the other part. It was leading to a situation, both the GNC and the East Africans who were being abducted, they were being placed in a very precarious situation. Because one, they are being told you are arresting people without taking them to court in the earliest time. And then they say, no, we did not get those people, because whenever we get people, we take them to court at the earliest time according to the law. But then that way they are exposing themselves to ridicule, because somebody would say, now, how you are supposed to be, actually, even by law, those abducted kids or their families can still sue the government um, for failing. Okay, the inspector general and the director of criminal intelligence investigation, both would say our people did not do it. But you see, somebody can sue them by saying that you have failed in your mandate, and that is why even some were even saying that the inspector general and the director of criminal investigation should resign, because if it is your mandate to make sure that the only people who have gone against the law, not only gone against the law, who are still in active investigation, uh, why are you making it so that why are you making it such that in Kenya anybody can abduct anybody? You see, this is a, what do you call, a lose-lose situation. And for NIS, it becomes a win-win situation, because okay, they have abducted the youth, and at the same time they are not being blamed. That is a very good example of Operation Shika Msomari. Special branch, as constituted today, of course, started as special branch. It became Directorate of DSI, Directorate of Security Intelligence. Then it became NSIS. Then it is now NIS. Uh, as currently constituted, was started in 1968 by a letter that was called Directive Number 1. And whatever is happening is never there. And they are even worse, because during Moi's time, there was one place only where people are being taken. If it is not assassination, that is different, because assassination, they just take you to Savo. But there were only one place that people went, that was Nyayo House. And it was known and whatever. That is why even in 1990, it reached a stage where we were embarrassed. We were embarrassed until the then Commissioner of Police was instructed to declare Nyayo House a police station, because by law, you are not supposed to be held in any other place apart from a gazetted police station. Now, you may be placed somewhere pending transfer. You see, the nearest police station, maybe there is no vehicle, there is those handicaps that can make them delay in putting you in police cells. But you should be taken to the police cells as soon as practicable. Two, after reaching the police station and being booked in the cells register, you are supposed to be appear in court in the earliest within 24 hours, and if it is a public holiday, within the earliest time after the 24 hours. I want to say this, and I've said it several times. 2 days ago, I was saying it in with Mwafrika. I want to say this, that that time when we were having Gen C, not Gen C, that time when youths were starting to draw those pictures, uh, and that is a talent. And as I said at Mwafrika's youth in any studio, I said that the youth should use that talent to draw people's portraits, and they'll get some money there. But then there are three options, and that is what I would want to tell the youths who will be drawing this, that there are three options. Um, Option number one, you pretend not to know it and ignore. And that one I've even recorded that in my opinion, because the president was first of all called, the first time the president was called Zakayo. He accepted the name. It went. Then they called him Kasongo. He accepted. I think he blew the roof when they started showing pictures in the coffin. But let me tell you also that some tribes some tribes take death seriously. I want to say this, that we have had cases where Kikuyus take a body from the mortuary and bury it. They take a body from the mortuary and bury it without checking. But Eluhya, hey, utaongeleshwa hata utaulizwa maswali kindu kiki kwire sasa, as if you'll answer the person the question. So we have also that, and we also have Kalenjins. I remember when I was a recruit, there was a part we were playing of resuscitating these dolls. There are these things that you are taught how to resuscitate a person who is in an accident through mouth to mouth. And I remember when the instructor knew that this fellow is a Kalenjin, as the fellow was kissing the doll to push uh, air into the system, the instructor would take the hands and the recruit could run away as if he has been caught by a ghost. So what I would want to say is that some people, some tribes, we have people like Aluya. If you are dead and you're in the sitting room, somebody can lie on the sofa set and sleep comfortably. But then that was that. So I was saying that the first thing is to pretend to ignore that, and it would end. But Ruto is a human being. You advise him, maybe even emotions to overtake him. But that was the first option I would have said. The second option I would have said is that you charge the person with the misuse of a communication equipment. That is under CAK, Communication Authority of Kenya Act, which says that if you misuse a communication gadget, internet and whatever, you are charged. And when you are charged and you are found guilty, you are your fingerprints are taken, and you forget in the future, you forget that you will ever have certificate of good conduct. That is the end of it. Now, there is this thing people are saying and whatever, and I would really want to talk to young people, especially young men, on this issue. You cannot have your cake. You cannot eat your cake and have it. You either decide to eat your cake, or you decide to save your cake for another time. You cannot have it both sides. You are saying that uh, in other countries, you can even see. I even saw another one where that time when Trump was the president, there is the picture of people, him in diapers, and a very big cartoon being taken around town. And somebody says, you see, in other countries they do that. No. If you want to do that, go to those countries. But if you're in Kenya, when you are saying that there is a, what do you call, freedom of speech, or freedom of expression, then there is also that same book. It is called a gray book. The same book that is giving you freedom of expression. It says that if you misuse the cyberspace, then you are guilty and you spend, I think, 6 months in jail. But spending 6 months in jail is nothing. The only thing is that if you know if you are convicted for misuse or any other mistake, it is possible that you can be convicted and not be taken to jail. Maybe you are medically sick, maybe whatever. There are so many reasons that can make you not be taken to court. Now, when you are not to be taken to jail, but when you are convicted, remember you will never have a certificate of good conduct. People say, can't he understand? Can't he understand? Now, the problem with you people, the young men, uh, the Gen Z, is that you want everybody to understand you, but you find it impossible for you to understand any other person. Are you really sincere? Are you really uh, fair? Then there has come a question. I think Ruto is the one who has been pushing for that thing, that parents sit with their kids. Some people are saying no need for parents to sit down with their kids, or these kids don't listen to their parents. From time immemorial, we have been told that asiyesikia la mzazi hufunzwa na dunia. And if there is anybody, I always believe, if there is anybody that does not need advice, then that person will be so wise as to do things well. Because even if you are taken to court and it is known that if it is known that you don't listen to advice, then that is one of the ways that makes it possible for you to be jailed without an option of fine. We say that social media and other such openers, it means that you have been given responsibilities. These days, you decide what to do, when to do, and how to do it without any supervision. But that one also comes with accountability. If you draw, you are convicted. Your good conduct certificate goes forever. Just that. Decide to draw. It's just like I also saw that when I was a police officer. Someone has been arrested. Says, you see, kwani huku kuna waizi wangapi? Let me tell you, next time you find yourself in court, or anytime you find yourself in court, if you have never been there, don't ever use that excuse. Because judicial officers, magistrates, and judges, when they hear you saying, but in our area there are so many pickpockets, why pick on me alone? You're already inviting sentencing without an option, of a fine. Now that is a general talk about that, and I wanted to talk now about Muturi's son. I think he's called Levis. I want to talk about Levis, and it is so funny and it is so concerning. First thing, why are we concentrating on the son of Muturi? Last time I saw the TV, that was yesterday evening, though it was saying that according to Houghton, is it called Houghton Irungu? He's saying that they have counted, plus Kenya National Human Rights Commission, they have counted and found that 80 something kids were kidnapped and 26 have been found. It means that around 60 kids are not there. Why don't we talk about the other kids? These other kids, you can see, Muturi talked to the Inspector General. Muturi talked to the DCI. Muturi talked to everybody. Do these people even have an access to talk to OCPD? And then again, I don't know whether I'm getting it, because Muturi says he was informed by somebody in the NIS that when somebody tells you that I, I had an access to the NIS, he has an access to NIS. The other 60 kids, Do their parents have an access to? You know, this is somebody who is this is somebody who has access to people in the NIS. And again, if you read if the way I'm reading between the lines is anything to go by, I would say that the decision to abduct these kids was made at a level that Muturi was part of it. Let me ask you a question. Suppose it was not Muturi's son who was abducted. Would he even have made any cases? Now, between me and you, we are fighting for Muturi's son, isn't it? A son who was abducted. Yes, he was abducted. The father fought and he was released. The father is talking. What about that child of a person who is just a peasant? And again, I'm repeating and saying that if Muturi's son would not have been abducted, Muturi would not have done that. And many things are showing that most likely he knew what was happening to other. It only affected him. Because imagine just one person from the NIS, just one person from NIS tipping him that yes, your son has been abducted by NIS. You see the kind of calls, there is some things, you know your son, you know whatever is happening, and you know their son, he cannot be of that type. Because up to this time, we didn't see his son leading Gen Z. We don't have any information that the son was ABCD. If it was Kinaka Samuel, Kinanani, then we would have done what? If it was Kinaka Samuel, Kinanani, we would have said, yeah, it is Kinaka Samuel. But his son was not in the leading. Nini. I can explain that because during Kanu days, Kenyatta and Moi, when we had things like Ngoroko, whatever, if you had an enemy, you'd wait for the list to be there, and then you include your enemy's name there. So it used to happen that way. But all things same, Muturi knew that there was such an operation. Muturi knew that kids were being rounded up. And Muturi, if anything would have, if his son would not have been abducted, he would have uh, not have done anything. There is when the president told when the president told rang the Hussein, not Hussein, when he rang Haji and told him to release the boy, he Muturi didn't do any action there. He just kept quiet because at that very same minute that Haji was being told to release the boy, Muturi was there and he heard. He took no action. He lived he lived on as if life was the same, isn't it? Why did he not continue? Why did he continue being in the government? Yeah. Right now, he's annoyed. He's all over the police stations, writing statements and pursuing a case, which he would have done that at the time when he left the gazebo, when he had the president telling Haji to release the boy. He didn't do that. Very many months later is when he has realized that. There is a time when the president sacked the whole cabinet except 3 people. The only people who remained was, of course, him and the deputy president, of which they are not covered, and the president cannot sack. And then the third one was the Musalia Mudavadi. These three were retained. But one thing the president did that was very much, it brought up some attention, is when on the cabinet he he also dismissed Muturi as the attorney general. That speaks a lot. Now, The son is abducted. He does nothing. He stays for quite some time. The cabinet is sacked, including him as the attorney general. He does nothing. Because we remember so many things happen. We even remember, okay, before I say so many things happen, remember that whenever such a thing happens, the attorney general is retained until another attorney general goes there. Or even today, the attorney general can be replaced. The attorney general can be replaced by another attorney general. It does not have, this is the president's legal advisor. So he can be sacked and rehired and whatever without being connected to the sacking of the cabinet. So when the cabinet was being sacked, the office of the attorney general stayed vacant. Why? Another lady was given, she refused. She was given another ministry. Have you noticed that? Something happens to Muturi. He doesn't mind about the kid. Second thing happens. If we talk of other cabinet ministers, we can understand because ABCD. But the attorney general, it speaks a lot. Then he was given one of the smallest ministries. The ministry he has is very little. Although it is said that the ministers are supposed to be the same. Imagine he's a former speaker. He's a former attorney general. And is given a Moses Kuria's ministry. As the speaker, he was the head of one of the three arms legislature. As the attorney general, he was the government's security, no, the law advisor, chief law advisor. Those are very big positions. And if you want to know about attorney general, remember Charles Njonjo. So from there is given one of the smallest ministries. That is step number 2. Because the first one we said at the gazebo he had Nur Haji being told to release the boy. He did nothing. He didn't even go to Kilimani police station to make a report, isn't it? The cabinet was sacked. The position of AGs remained for a long time without an occupier. He didn't notice that. Then he goes, there are 2 things that happened that I think may have affected his reasoning. The first thing is that there is a funeral somewhere. He goes to the funeral. He gives his speech. When he wants to give the president's speech, the crowd jeer him. The crowd jeer him. Now, what I'm trying to say is that I don't know where the place he was giving where the funeral was, but wherever that funeral was, he went there, tried to read the president's speech. He was shouted down. Now he has started discovering that in that region where the funeral was happening, the president is unpopular. That is when he remembers that. That is why when he remembers that his son was abducted. Then again, the deputy president is impeached. But before the deputy president is impeached, it is the deputy president who says that NIS, Rigiji, is the one who says that NIS abducted uh, Muturi's son. But Muturi doesn't talk. I want to remember somebody who used to be called Saitoti. Saitoti was poisoned, and when this rumor started going around that Saitoti had been poisoned, he said, no, 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 no. Those are people who are, he was defending the system. But later on, he came and accepted that he had been poisoned. So here is Rigathi Gachagua saying that NIS had abducted Muturi's son. Muturi doesn't remember that. Then it goes that way. Muturi, I've just remembered something I'll tell you before we finish that. Then it comes to the time for filling in the position of the internal security minister. It comes the time of filling in the internal security minister. I think Muturi was persevering whatever problems he was going through, believing that he stands a very good chance of being the minister for internal security. It is true he stands a very good, but for reasons that only Ruto knows, it was given to somebody else. You see, all these things are connected. He goes to his home area, finds that uh, he goes to his home area, finds that the president should not even be mentioned. Then internal security minister is appointed. It is not him and whatever. That is when he discovers that his son had been um abducted. What I just remembered a few moments ago is that in government, you know when your things have started going bad, because when they sat down and decided NSAC to allow NIS to do what it did, he was there. But when he left, his son's name was put there. These are the signs. That is what I was laughing a few minutes ago. Those are the signs that tells you that if you are staying in a government house, start moving your things home. You remember Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua was removed from a WhatsApp group. So that is the thing that happens. I would advise Ruto that Muturi is a political lightweight, but politically or any other business, don't lose even one vote. Don't lose even one vote. Yes, Muturi may join Rigathi, or Muturi may form a third force, but in many cases, it is better to retain the one vote that you have, other than look out for two, and then you start wondering why you are losing votes. That is the problem that is part of the problem that Raila had. That in every election he would win a new place, a new region politically, but he would still lose. So he would think I've won region east, I've won region east by 2 million votes, plus what I got the last time, forgetting that in the course of winning that new region, he had foregone the other region, so that even if it is 500,000 and you have acquired the 2 million, it means that you have acquired 1.5 million. But if you would have retained the 500,000 that you had, then you'd still have the 2 million. So I would advise Ruto, not request. I would advise Ruto to be very careful with this thing that Swahili wanasema kidogo kidogo hujaza kibaba. I also avoid these people, especially from your home region, whom somebody says something, says, we don't even need your vote. You see a person from your home region, let's say an MP or a senator or even a governor, he'd say that so that the people from, being a senator or a governor or an MP, usually apart from those in very few in urban areas, in most cases, the voters usually are from one tribe. They are one tribe. Now, when the people are from one tribe, usually, if it is your tribe, this person is talking to your tribe mate to re-elect him as MP, to re-elect him as a senator or even a governor at your expense. Uh, you should be brainstorming on how uh, you could retain something reasonable from Mrima. Don't make a mistake of, Mrima is not Nyanza. Nyanza is a place where you'd even avoid if you're not good terms with Raila. But Mrima, you should work hard and whatever. So, viewers, mine was only to say that Muturi, don't be sympathetic to him. Don't be sympathetic to Muturi, Because if his son would not have been abducted, he would not have acted the way he's acting. And then also there are several things that Muturi has done, has avoided. There was the occasion when his son was abducted, he never complained to anybody. There is a time when he was sacked as an AG. You see, with the ministers, that is different. When he was sacked as an AG, he did nothing. There is a time when he was bypassed for the position of DP and the Ministry for Internal Affairs. So there are so many reasons to believe that if these things would not have affected Muturi, he would not have minded. But then, we people on the street, we should mind about kids from a smaller background like ours. See, how many times have you seen the son of rich people out there in the street? Very few times, if at all you have done. These are my views according to the way I perceive Jackson Muturi. Thank you.